Hi, Trudy.
Oh, I hear Gloria, but I can't get into a meeting.
You're in. I see you.
You see me?
Yeah, I see you.
It says, all my thing says is your meeting should start in a few seconds. I guess I'll have to join.
No, you minimize it by accident video.
Does it say on the bottom start video for you? I can see you fine.
You can see me?
Yeah,
How
I can see
exciting.
you. Grant is wearing red shorts.
Oh, thank you.
I've done something wrong.
Dad, close that tab.
There's only one tab.
Like, no. Just minimize this.
Top right.
Yeah.
Oh,
That one there?
The little minus?
The little minus up here.
Oh. This one?
This is very high tech for us.
Oh.
Oh, Gloria! How are you?
You got it on the TV?
What's that?
You got it up on your TV, do you?
Yeah.
You're high tech.
Not really. No, not at all. That's why I couldn't get in.
That's why we couldn't see you.
I only do Danny's classes this way. I don't do the Zoom.
You do Zoom classes though, right? You're doing.
Yeah, but I don't do it on the TV because it's not enough room and I can't have weights in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, how you
I
like
think
it?
we're putting in a TV in the basement so we can actually use it down there.
Yeah. So you guys are doing mobility classes all the time too?
Yeah, I like them.
I do too. It's tough. Some of the moves, like Monday night, I could not get my leg off the floor. I'm like, how the hell is how?
I know some of them, he goes, oh, lift this and lift that. And you're going, I can't.
I know. Until you shift yourself around a little bit, right?
Yeah. No, they're good. And Grant and I kind of talk each other into it because by 7, you don't really want to do it. And then once we do it, we're happy.
Yeah, I know. It's so nice out this evening. I went for a bike ride with my youngest. We did a short 20-minute bike ride, which felt good.
That's all right. Did you do a class today?
I did conditioning at 3, and that was with Ryan. It was supposed to be with Tanya, but it was Ryan coached it.
Oh.
Did you do one today?
No, I was going to do I worked today, and I was going to do the 5:30 class. And yeah, I should drop muffins off. So I was talking to her, and then 5:30 came and went, but that's okay. I did a lot of gardening.
So are you back to a garden center working?
No, I'm working. I garden I have different clients, so most of them I haven't gone back to, but there's one near here that I do regularly. So yeah, I was up there today.
Oh, good.
I have to pick the nice days lately.
Yeah,
so every sunny day we're up there.
Nice.
Hey, Danny.
The host is here. We better stop talking about him.
Oh, Josh talking
We're
So, like I was saying, if you saw online, we're going to work at internal rotation of our shoulder. It was on the Facebook page. And then we're also going to work on extension, which is going to be really important stuff for just having a healthy shoulder joint in general. And then particularly to some of the movements that we do in CrossFit between our Olympic lifting and all of our pressing exercises. And even in terms of getting a better swing when you go for something like a run. Just going to start a timer. Cool. So if you have access to like a broomstick or a piece of PVC or anything like that at all, some sort of stick, that's totally awesome. And I'll show you how to kind of try to rig stuff up in case you don't. Having access to a wall, if you don't have access to that stick, or potentially like the side of your couch could work. Do you guys have like a stick there?
Grant's just gone to get some hockey sticks.
Oh, sweet.
I'm getting one. I got a broomstick.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And having a little yoga block or a pillow for your head could be nice too. So we'll do just a little warm up to start off. and then we'll carry on from there. You guys can see pretty well. Sweet. And you can go to a kneeling position. If that's uncomfortable on your knees, then feel free to stand. What we're going to start out with is like our last session. We'll cross our arms. We're going to do our rotations or some motion through our spine. So we're thinking from top of the shoulder right through to the hip. What we'll do is we'll flex forward as far as we can. Rotate to the right. Bring your right shoulder behind your right hip. And then roll backwards. Try to do a back bend. Sternum to ceiling. Bring left shoulder behind the left hip. Roll forward. And we'll repeat. We'll rotate to the right. We'll drop the right shoulder back. Back bend. Rotate to the left. Left shoulder behind the left hip. Roll forwards. And now we'll reverse it. We'll rotate to the left. Left shoulder behind the left hip. Roll backwards, think like pole vaulting. Rotate to the right, side bend right. Roll forwards. And again, rotate to the left, side bend left. Roll backwards, little back bend. Rotating to the right, right shoulder behind the right hip. Roll forwards, and there we go. Next thing that we're gonna do is just some shoulder circles. So what you can do is we'll go to a tabletop position. If you find that having your wrists right underneath of your shoulders makes them feel a little bit tired, then just walk your wrists forward a little bit, and that doesn't pull your wrist backwards so much. You might find that variation just a little bit more comfortable. We're gonna squeeze our shoulders tight to the spine. We'll pull them backwards towards the hip. Push them forwards. Lift them up to the ears. Squeeze them tight to spine. Pull down to the hip. Push apart. Lift up to the ears. Squeeze tight. Pull down. Push apart. Shrug to ear, and now reverse it. Pull it back to the hip. Tight to your back. Up to your ears. Push them apart. Pull down to hip. Tight to spine. Up to the ear. Push apart. Down to hip. Tight to spine. Up to ear. Push apart. Elbow stuff. Hey, Steph. Just so you know, Steph, if you have like a little pillow or a yoga block you could rest your head on, would be awesome to have. Yeah, sweet. And if you have like any sort of a stick, a hockey stick, broomstick, mop, anything at all, then that would be awesome too. If you don't have one, that's fine. Do you have something like that? You're not unmuted, PS. Or I think you are.
Yes, I have one. Thank you.
Oh, sweet. Okay, awesome. We'll go back to our tall kneeling position. So get a little bit more work through hamstrings and butt supporting us. Maybe you're trying to roll your hips backwards a little bit. Lengthen the elbows and try to focus on your elbows moving. We're going to rotate the elbows outwards, and that twists the palms away from each other while we curl the elbow. Then we'll pivot elbow inwards. That makes the palms face forwards, and lengthen through the arms. So from side profile, I'm going to stay rotated inwards and rewind. I'm going to pivot outwards from the elbow and then lengthen through that joint. Again, stay rotated outwards and flex, rotate inwards and lengthen. Stay rotated in and flex. Rotate in and extension, rotate out and flex. Cool, sorry, I think I might have frozen up for you guys just a second. So then the next thing that we're gonna do is some rotations through our shoulder. When you guys do this, feel free to play around with your shoulders in line with, your elbow in line with your shoulder, but if that's feeling a little bit uncomfortable, you could always drop them down just a touch. Try not to let your shoulder blades shrug, and try not to let your shoulders press forward. So we're just gently pulling shoulder blades tight and down towards the hip line. So from here, can you keep your wrist straight and pivot off the line of the elbow backwards? You don't have to really force it. And then pivot off the elbow line downwards. And same thing, don't worry about forcing it, just gentle. And then now rotate backwards. See if you can rotate just a little bit harder. Try to find just a little bit more space, nothing wild, like 50%. Pivot inwards. A little bit harder, find a little bit more space. Rotate backwards. Think about like 60%. So you're becoming more and more aware of what's contributing to twisting backwards. And then pivot inwards and feel it's kind of like, it almost feels like it's inside the front of the shoulder as you're pivoting in. One more rep, the hardest one, rotating backwards, pull a little harder, really listen to that stuff that's doing it. And then rotating inwards, really listening to that stuff that's doing it, twisting a little bit harder. We want to know those two rotational directions because that's the first thing we're going to work on right now is developing the ability to turn our shoulder inwards more. Developing space for rotation will be so important for freeing up space for the arm to go overhead without compensations, like doing a back bend or the elbow bending on you while you try to reach it backwards. And it'll be important for stuff like our Olympic lifting when we do our snatch or our clean, as we're trying to pull that bar up. Tendency, like I was saying, for a lot of people who are missing that rotation is they end up popping the shoulder forward and or lifting it up a little bit too much. So we're going to try to make some space for that. You've got your little pillow, and you're going to be lying down on your side. You want to get into like a little, almost like a V shape. So I'm going to bring my legs up just a little bit so that I keep my back flat. And I'm going to rest my head on my little yoga block. I'm going to rest my head on there. I'm going to think about just trying to pull my shoulders. So I'm just tucking my shoulder underneath my torso. So I'm trying to pin my shoulder blade that's on the floor down and back.
Oh, he froze again.
There we go. Try not to let your shoulders shrug up while you do this on that floor one. The other thing that you can do as well is if you just pivot away from your...
Oh man, this is not going to be good. No, because he said last time he froze.
Did I just get kicked out? We all good? Is everybody still good?
You're cutting it.
Sorry, my computer just gave out on me. I'm just going to try one thing really quick. See if it listens to me. Okay, it's not listening to me. Oh well, we'll carry on without it. So, here we go. Back to our little stretch. From this position, again, just keep in mind.
Oh no.
Or pinching, or just general discomfort through the backside of your shoulder. We want to feel this stretch on the backside, but we just don't want to feel any irritations. So just try to be a little bit intuitive. What we'll do is we can just curl.
I think that's going to do this.
Top hand and just gently start guiding by pushing the forearm down towards the floor. Inhaling through nose, exhaling through mouth, trying to get all the stuff around your shoulder to relax. Inhaling through nose, exhaling through mouth. And as you just gently apply pressure of top wrist onto forearm, you'll feel that forearm getting closer to the floor. as you feel rotation through the elbow joint getting into the ground. We'll just take 1 or 2 more breaths. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Now on this big inhale, trap the air in your stomach. Deep breath in, trap that air. And I want you to start rotating against that top hand. So imagine like you're trying to squish something between your forearm and your palm. So they're going against each other. It's as if you're trying to twist your arm out of position. So just start building up that intensity. 5% to 40%, 45 to 50%, 55, 60%, and now just try to hold it there. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently let those muscles relax. Hold the position. And now try to rotate from the elbow axis deeper towards the floor. So you're going to try to rotate the forearm down to the ground, away from that support palm. Build that up. Start out low, 20, 30% effort, and start increasing to 35, to 40, to 45, to 50, 55, to 60, 65, and hold. Two, one, gently let those muscles relax. So we should have found that we've sunk ourselves into deeper internal rotation through that full stretch. Right now, if you let everything relax, you might find if you watch, as I push down back into that passive range of motion, and then I try to fire up all the muscles to hold it, as I gently start taking that top hand off of the forearm, it might spring backwards a little bit. We're just trying to hold it in position and trying not to let that happen. We're going to do that 5 times. We're going to squeeze and hold, and we'll let go, and we'll try to maintain the angle for 10 seconds. We'll let everything relax. We'll push it back down, squeeze and hold, slowly bring the palm off, try to maintain over 10 seconds, and let it relax. So here we go. We push down towards the floor, fire up all the muscles, squeeze and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it go. Push back down again, fire up all the muscles, try to hold the position, start letting go with the hand for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, good, let it relax. Push down again, squeeze and hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
And hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And just let that stuff go. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. So you guys, my internet, I don't know what's going on. It's like a little bit unstable right now, but we'll see how things go here. Maybe it'll figure itself out. So another thing to keep in mind, I was already saying that as we're rotating inwards, did anybody feel anything kind of weird on the back side of their shoulder? Was everybody okay? Everybody's all good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So the only other thing that you can try to add onto this side is once you get into your position, think about just gently trying to apply some force into the ground. So I'm on my right side, whatever side you're on, that hip that's on the floor, shoulder that's on the floor, and side of the head that's on your block or your pillow. Try to push the head down gently into the block. Try to push your shoulder blade gently into the floor, and try to push that hip gently down into the floor. And that could be helpful for you for generating some more tension through your body that's going to get centered into that moving shoulder. And it can be helpful for you as well to try to give yourself some extra cueing to make sure that you're not coming out of position. So again, we'll just rotate inwards and we'll assess about how far we have to rotate. And then from there, we'll let the muscles relax and we'll just gradually start pressing ourselves into chin, and just gently pulling the shoulder blade away from the ear and into the floor. Deep breathing, inhale nose. And on the exhale, maybe find some more space to rotate deeper to the floor. Or if you feel like you're already in a deep stretch, on the exhales, use that as an opportunity to just relax a little bit more. If you feel like you've gone too deep, too fast, then definitely come out of it. If your fingers start tingling while you're in the stretch, definitely you want to come out of it. More inhale, exhale, so 2 more cycles. Big inhale. Slow exhale. Next inhale, I want you to trap all that air in your stomach and start tightening up your full body. Big inhale. And start increasing the intensity of that drive. So from 30% to 35, from 35 to 40, from 40 to 45, from if you feel like you could do a little bit more safely, go for it. Two. Good. Hold the position. Let all the muscles slowly relax, like turning a dimmer switch down. And then now start rotating off of that elbow line deeper into the stretch. So now try to twist inwards towards the floor. Think about trying to pull your forearm away from that pressing palm. 30% effort. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60% effort, or greater if you feel comfortable with it, if it feels safe. Hold that effort. Your palm down there to keep the elbow from coming back up or forearm from coming up. Just let the muscles relax. Freeze frame there. Cool. So same thing again. We're just going to passively push ourselves into our end range, and then we'll try to fire up the muscles to hold. Tightened up in your body. Deep breath, pack in air, push down, and now rotate inwards to hold. Start pulling the hand off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Push back down, pack in air. Hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Take in air. Pack it in. Push down and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Try to create relative extension through your wrist while you twist off the elbow line, and you might notice you get more concentration of force into the shoulder. Last one here. Push down and he's doing this, right? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Grab your piece of PVC or your broomstick, your hockey stick, whatever it is. And we're just going to get 90-degree bend through the elbows. We'll bring it up so that it's in line, elbows are relatively in line with our shoulders. So from a side profile, we're in line with our sides. And it doesn't have to be right here, and it doesn't have to be all the way backwards. So if it's bumping into your forehead, that's totally fine. We're focused more on turning down anyway. Remember, as we do these reps, we want to try to listen to the shoulder blade and make sure that the shoulder's not lifting up too much or going forwards too much. So, setting ourselves up in position, I'm just going to tuck my hips a little bit, hollow out my stomach, and I'm going to pivot off the elbow line towards my chest, keeping length in the wrists, pivot back up. Connect to that stuff we just worked on. Pivot down, pivot back up, pivot down, back up, down, back up, down. Hey, Paul and Andrew joining. Sweet.
How's it going?
Sorry, you guys.
Sorry we're late.
That's okay. And 2 more reps. Pivot. Really hold the shoulders down back, lengthen the wrists, come back up. 1 more time. Pivot off the line of the elbow. Shoulders down back, squeeze and hold it. Fight for a little bit more. And gently come on out of that. Cool. Reaching our arm behind us. When we reach our arm behind us, just like with our internal rotation, we want to try to have that shoulder blade up forwards or upwards while we're going backwards.
Does it keep cutting out?
I think it's him.
Also want to what you can do is if you set yourself up against a wall, I'll just use my TV stand as an example right now. But if you set yourself up against a wall, then you can just get the stick or your arm and even your shoulder if you're against the wall. Body more feedback. It's just gives you a coach to be there with. If you don't have access to a wall or like a couch or a desktop or whatever, that's totally fine. You can just do it like I'm going to demo for you guys. I'm going to stand at my side here. So whatever arm is reaching backwards, get that same leg to reach backwards with it. What I want you guys to maybe do is just try to pull your arm backwards and see how far relatively you can go, trying to keep it tight. So you guys can see I don't have a ton of tension. Ideally, you could get your arm in line with your shoulder when you reach it behind you. And you have just a general idea. So when I go to set this up, because I'm missing a lot of that extension, I can just lean into it a little bit. And as I start to pivot my torso upright, I'm going to feel a big stretch coming on through the front side of my shoulder. And I'm even just going to try to open up my shoulder a little bit more. So here's what's going to happen. You guys can just rest and relax for a second. What we're going to do is we're going to spend just a little bit of time breathing and trying to open up the shoulder a little bit more. So we'll try to tilt the torso more and more upright. Once we spend just a little bit of time stretching, we're going to do that same little pull and push. So what we're thinking about is we're going to use the muscles to resist the stretch. We're going to think about trying to drive the stick down into the floor, and we'll build that up over our like 30 seconds, give or take. And then what we'll do from there is we'll think about trying to let go of that stick. So we'll try to just relax the palm and reach the arm up. Or you can also think about trying to raise the arm, and at the same time that you raise your arm, you're going to bring your torso upright. You're just pulling yourself into a deeper stretch is what's really going to be happening. So let's give this a shot. Let's find our extension, shoulder blade down and back, PVC right against your side, and then just start doing some deep breathing and try to bring yourself upright. Inhale nose, exhale mouth. Try to keep your wrists straight. Inhale nose, exhale mouth. And just start listening to that stuff that's on stretch. If you feel like you got deep in the stretch really quickly, you probably want to come out of it just a little bit. Deep inhale nose, exhale mouth. Try to maintain some length through your arm while you do this. So here we go, starting out at about 30% effort. I want you to start trying to pull the stick down into the ground. So think about reaching your arm in front of you. Connect to the stuff front side of your shoulder, your chest. Start increasing the intensity, 35%, 40% effort, 45%, 50% effort, 55, 60% effort. Hold at 60% for 5, 4, 3, 2, gently let that stuff go. And now here's Cramp City. Start flexing from the tricep, pull the arm backwards, try to sit a little bit taller, try to keep that PVC perpendicular to the floor, try not to let it sway, build up the intensity, 40%, 45, 50%, 55, 60%, and hold, lengthen the elbow, reach the shoulder blade down back, try to bring the torso more upright, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, hold position, gently let the muscles relax. Good job. So what we can do is we can just slide the wrist down a little bit, or the palm down the PVC a little bit, so that we're not in such a deep stretch. And we want to see if we could maybe just lift that PVC like a couple of inches off the floor. If you're too far out of the stretch, the PVC is going to come way up in the air, and that's not our goal. We want to be pretty close to where we just stretched in. So we want to be close to our end range of motion. We want to be close to the furthest that we could pull our arm backwards. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to pick that PVC up off of the floor and hold it in the air for 10 seconds. So we're trying to reach back to where we just stretched to. We're going to shoot for 5 reps. Your first rep, the PVC might not even leave the floor, because I want you to just keep it at a low effort. Think like 40%. So here we go. Little squeeze, muscles backside of the arm to lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, let it go. Now I want you to think more like a 50% effort. Here we go, 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Let that stuff go. Try to be gentle when you let it go. So here we're going to go into cramping zone. If you didn't have it when we were doing the first part, you might start to feel it here. I want you to try to shoot for like a 70% effort. Here we go. PVC is hopefully going to lift up the floor this time with this amount of effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gentle, letting it down. Okay, last one. See if you can get some shakes. Try to keep pulling your arm towards your body, because remember what I said, it's going to want to shoot out sideways. So here we go. Max effort, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. Shoulder down back. Extend the elbow. Reach that PVC off. 3, 2, 1. Gentle, letting it back down to the floor. How's that, you guys? Challenging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you might try to swing that hockey stick at me. I'll try this round just from like facing forwards and see if that's helpful for you at all. Just to give you a bit of a different angle, or maybe I'll even go, yeah, I'll just go facing forwards. So you can see when I set up for this, if I just stick the PVC right against my ankle, at least that gives me a little bit of feedback. Because then if that PVC starts to sway out sideways, I can feel it disconnect from my ankle. So that might be helpful for you if you're not against a wall right now. So same thing, we can just reach the arm behind us, try to keep it tight to the body, trying not to let it drift sideways, and get a sense of what we have to pull backwards. And then from there, we can kind of set up our PVC. And if you need to, just lean your torso forwards a little bit to come out of the stretch. And then now, think like a dip, right? This is another example of stuff this will be helpful for. Feel that stretch I always talk about in class when we're in the bottom of our dip. We're feeling it front side of the shoulder. We'll just do a little bit of breathing here. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Inhale, nose. As you exhale, try to find some space to pull your shoulder down and back a little bit more, opening up that stretch front side of the shoulder a bit more. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Try to lengthen the elbow a little bit more. If it feels like it's bent, try to just extend it a little bit. Inhale, nose. Exhale. This next inhale, take in a lot of air, pack it into your stomach, tighten up your body. We're going to start working. Big inhale, nose, pack in the air. Start driving that stick down into the floor. We're trying to pull from muscles front side of the shoulder to drive the PVC down. Building it up. 40% effort. 45. 50. 55. 60, 65, hold there. Now remember, we could start trying to lean backwards to increase the intensity of the stretch when we lift up. 5, 4, 3, 2, let those muscles relax. And now start trying to pull deeper into the stretch. Extend the arm further behind you. Feel muscles backside of the shoulder and arm. Really working, squeezing, build it up to 40% effort, 45, 50, 55, 60, and hold. Really squeeze, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, good. Let that stuff gently relax. You can lean forward just a little bit from the torso, and or you can just slide your hand down the PVC a little bit, and we're going to do our lift-offs. Remember, on the first couple reps, we're going to build up our efforts each rep. So the first couple, the PVC might not lift off the floor, but hopefully by the last couple, it's actually leaving the ground a little bit. So here we go. Set yourselves up, shoulder blades down and back. 30–40% effort of squeezing, like we're going to bring the pole off of the floor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, good. Let it go. Notice that PVC looks like it's shooting through my shoulder right now, right? Here we go again, 40–50% effort. Squeeze and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, good. Let it go. Now 60% effort, give or take. Pack in the air and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, good. Let that go. Make sure you're doing your little posterior pelvic tilt, so you're trying to lift your belt buckle up to face forwards as you lean back. Last effort, around 70 or more if you can. PVC should be lifting off the floor, but barely. Here we go. Pack in air. Lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, gentle letting it down. Gentle letting the muscles relax. Good. How's that, you guys? Is that going to help?
Oh,
Stuff?
yeah.
Keep in mind too, as best you can, especially when you're like cramping up like that, you're gonna really want to just let everything go, but do your best to actually turn the volume down slowly, just as slowly almost as you turned it up, for safety purposes and for purposes of control. When your body goes from a really heavy contraction to complete relaxation is where you can kind of, you know, potentially you're at risk of having like some sort of spasm that holds itself for a while. You've got irritations through whatever those joints are. And then the other thing as well is as far as control. So we're really trying to teach the body how to turn on and turn off gradually. That's important stuff. Or how to change gears, how to shift from first to second to third to fourth, et cetera, et cetera. So the last little bit of torture we're going to do for the day is we're just going to go through really similar to like it's like a variation of our snow angels in class. So I'll show you like a side profile and I'll show you a backside profile so you can get an idea. We're going to be lying down on our stomachs as if we were doing like arch raises or whatever the case. And we're going to have our hands in fists like a push-up position. We're going to try to lift elbows tight to the body right off of the floor. We're going to try to keep the elbows tight, reach back. We'll twist the arms inwards. And then we'll try to hover the fists on top of the back side of our body. We'll let them down. We'll try to pick them off, straighten them, turn them to face the floor. We bend and return. So what we're doing now is we're combining the internal rotation we learned first with our extension to build up a lot of workspace for the shoulder for all of its pressing that it has to do. And remember, like if you think about trying to fire an elastic band, it's only going to go so far as you can load it up. So any of your pressing exercises will only be so strong as what your nervous system feels confident in pulling into or loading up. I'll show you just one more time, facing backwards, so maybe that's helpful as well. So starting from our push-up position with fists, we'd be pulling them off of the floor and pause. Lengthening the elbows, so we're in extension and pause. Rotating inwards, pause. Coming together backside, trying to hover and pause. And then letting them down. Shoulders down and back. We pull palms or wrists off of the back. Lengthen, turn, bend the elbows, and slowly let them down. And so we're just going to pause at each transition zone. If you're unable to actually get your arms onto your back or even onto your butt, just get as close as you can and just kind of fake it and relax. They can just land at your sides, and that's totally okay. Everybody's cool with that?
Yep.
I'm just going to do it from a seated position, just to try to kind of be able to project my voice a little bit more, and so you guys can maybe try to turn and see me if you're having some trouble. And between each rep, I'll just change to face sideways and backwards if that's helpful for you. So here we go. Start with your fists on the floor as if you were going to do a push-up. Try to pull your elbows to touch each other behind you, shoulder blades down and back. And now we'll start. Pull the fists off of the floor. Good. Now extend the elbows and pause. Turn the elbows in and pause. Bring fists together as high as you can and pause. Let them drop down slowly. And now let everything relax. Hollow out your stomach. Roll your shoulders down and back. And now lift fists straight off of where you are. And now extend the elbow. Unwind the rotation. Bend the elbow while pulling the fist away from floor. Pull the elbows tighter together. Stay hollow through stomach and neck. And let the fist drop to ground slowly. Okay, that's one rep. We're gonna go again. Shoulders down and back. Start pulling the elbows together. Feel a stretch through the front of your chest. Deep breath, pack in air and hollow stomach and neck. And now lift off floor, pause. Extend elbows, pause. Twist shoulders inwards, pause. Bend the elbows, hover off butt or back as high as you can, maybe higher than the last rep, pause. Slowly drop to floor, control, let it all relax. Take in air again. Pack it into the stomach, hollow out stomach and back, roll shoulders down and back, straighten out your wrists and lift off. Lengthen elbow, unwind shoulder, keep pulling the elbow backwards and together while you bend them. Gently let the fist drop to the floor. When you're reaching your fists behind your back, they're going to want to curl into your forearms, like almost like a bicep curl. So try not to let them. See if you notice that on this next rep. This is going to be our last one. Here we go. All set up. Shoulder blades down and back. Elbows start pulling together. Keep those tight while you lift fists off of the floor. Lift fists further off floor. Further off floor. Okay, now find length in elbow. Keep reaching up. Keep reaching up. Now pull the fists together behind you while you rotate inwards. Now keep pulling shoulder down and back and keep the wrist straight while you start hovering. Hover higher. Hover higher. Shoulder down and back. Stomach, neck hollow. Hover higher. Gently land on the back or butt. Let the shoulders relax. Okay, we're going to go in rewind. We're going to go slow again. It's going to be a painful rep. Hollow out stomach, hollow out neck. Pack in the air. Take a deep breath. Shoulders down and back. Lift without letting the elbows straighten. Hold. Now straighten the elbow. Pull the fists and elbows together behind you. Lift higher. Unwind the shoulder. Bend the elbows. Keep pulling them backwards while you bend. Try not to scrape across the floor. pull the elbows tighter together behind you, shoulders down and back more. Gently let them to the floor. Whoa. Was that tough?
Yep.
Good job, you guys. So what you might actually find now is just trying to bring your arms overhead as if you were going to do like an overhead press or a handstand push-up. You might find that they actually feel like they have a pretty good amount of space to lift overhead. And it might feel like you get a lot less drag than you normally expect when you're reaching them overhead. You guys are all veterans by now, so you know how easy or hard it is to try to lift them overhead. You guys notice the difference?
Yeah, for sure.
And so interesting, right? Because we did the exact opposite of what we would intuitively think would help that. We were actually winding inwards and pulling backwards, and yet it makes so much space to reach overhead and turn outwards while we reach. I'd recommend putting in some more time in those stretches. So either our little sleeper stretch that we did on the floor, twisting the arm inwards. If you found you couldn't get your forearm to touch the ground when you did that stretch, you're going to want to spend more time on it. And if you're like me and you try to reach your shoulder backwards and it's 45 degrees or less, then definitely you want to spend some time stretching that one as well. But I'd try to get in another day or two of doing that. We'd spend around 2 minutes in that stretch. That could be a big help for you. Questions?
I noticed my right arm was a lot weaker than my left.
Interesting.
Yeah, like my right side, I could not get it off my low back.
Yeah.
I had to drop it right away when we were behind.
Yeah.
And could not get my forearm down.
Yeah.
All on the right side.
Yeah, but the left was a lot easier.
It was a lot easier, yeah.
So if you have some really big discrepancies, let's just say, for example, if this is what your right looks like and this is what your left looks like, I wouldn't worry about stretching the left. I just spend some time bringing the right up to speed with the left side. But that's the kind of stuff that this is really helpful for, is that you can just kind of do a self-assessment like that. You pick up quite a bit of information, and now you know that anything that you're doing that involves pressing overhead, you've definitely got a lot of, well, probably you have a lot of the work going into that more mobile shoulder. So I would say that it would potentially be more prone to some sort of injury based off of taking the load of what the other side is missing.
Tricep dips hurt so much and is all right here. I find
so, yeah, really good observation. So think about when you're dropping down into that dip, and maybe I should sit backwards a little bit, but we just assess what do we have to reach the arm behind us without the shoulder lifting up or coming forwards. And this is all I have. And as I bend my elbow, that doesn't look like a dip, does it? Right? So what I'm going to have to do is drop my torso forward, and now I'm in a dip. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
When you're doing a bench dip, lean yourself forward instead of try to stand up straight?
That would be more like a bar dip or a ring dip. But I wouldn't recommend doing bench dips because of the mechanics of that movement, right? If you try to lean forwards, your butt is just going to hit the bench. You'll have nowhere to move. And so now your body's going to have to make up for that deficit of extension by lifting up and rolling in. I don't know how well you could see from a side profile here without me knocking over my full stand, but this is as low as I can go, right? Which doesn't offer me much range of motion for building muscle from. So I would say that, again, your ring dips or your bar dips would be a better option for you or I if we're determined to practice the dips. And otherwise, substitutions for you would be overhead pressing, or or just like working more push-ups and focusing on your push-ups on what we did, on really keeping the elbows tight, not letting them separate, and the shoulder down back while you drop down. Because like I said, in order to accommodate that range, I have to lean in. And now I'm practically doing a push-up anyways. If I personally turned what I have available right now into a ring or a bar dip, I basically am just doing floating push-ups. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah.
Other questions? All good? Sweet. Well, you guys did really well. It was nice to hang out with you all. And yeah, again, like I say, practice that stuff a little bit on your own. It's just 2 minutes, just a casual 2 minutes. It could go a long way for you.
Thanks, Danny.
Take care, you guys. See you Friday, 1 o'clock.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.